In the heart of a war-torn front line, a trembling stray dog named Echo arrives at a makeshift veterinary clinic hidden in battered containers. When military vet Marcus Reed shines a shaky laser into Echo's mouth, he freezes. A rusted, blinking metal spy device stares back at him. Marcus, haunted by losing his own service dog in battle, senses this frightened animal might be an unlikely hero, the key to exposing dark secrets on the battlefield. Will Echo's silent courage help them uncover the truth, or will sinister forces silence their desperate cry for justice forever? A heavy gray sky pressed down upon the forward military base near the border, cloaking the outpost in a perpetual state of twilight. A damp chill hung in the air, mixing with the scent of diesel fuel, burnt metal, and something darker: war. Distant echoes of artillery fire were like thunder rumbling across the horizon, ever-present reminders of the conflict just beyond their sight. Inside a makeshift veterinary clinic, constructed hastily from military green containers and set on cracked, uneven concrete flooring, Marcus Reed adjusted his glasses and rolled his shoulders back. Marcus was in his early 40s, lean and sturdy with broad shoulders, a rugged face etched by years spent in harsh environments, and short, sandy blonde hair now touched with silver at the temples. His calm, steel-blue eyes, usually so steady, flickered now with weariness. Marcus had once been a vibrant man, quick to joke and slow to anger, but war had quieted him, deepening his gaze and tempering his voice. Marcus moved methodically around the cramped clinic, checking sparse shelves lined with improvised medical supplies. The facility's harsh fluorescent lighting buzzed intermittently, casting stark shadows on the equipment and walls. Just as he was preparing to end his shift, the container door groaned open, and Corporal Sam Bennett stepped inside. Sam Bennett was a robust young soldier in his late 20s, tall and powerfully built, his sandy hair cropped close beneath his camouflaged helmet. His face usually wore a cocky grin, a defense against the trauma of combat, but today it was clouded with genuine concern. "Doc, we found something," Sam called out, his voice tinged with urgency as he stepped further into the dimly lit room. "You gotta see this." Behind Sam came another soldier, Private Danny Ramirez, a smaller and wiry young man with olive skin and restless dark eyes, carefully carrying a large bundle wrapped in a camouflage poncho. Danny gently laid the bundle on Marcus's examination table and stepped back. Marcus approached cautiously, the poncho shifting slightly. He peeled back the fabric, revealing a severely injured dog, a scrappy, mud-covered German shepherd mix. The dog's fur, once perhaps golden brown, was now clumped with blood and dirt. Its sides heaved with labored breathing, eyes barely open, yet fixed on Marcus with an intensity that seemed strangely human. Marcus felt his chest tighten. Memories surged of another dog, another battlefield. "Where'd you find him?" Marcus asked, his voice low, his fingers already expertly moving to check the animal's vital signs. "About 2 clicks east, near that abandoned checkpoint. Poor guy was lying near some rubble," Sam explained, his voice subdued. "Looked pretty bad. Thought he was gone until he whimpered." Marcus nodded silently, reaching for his medical kit. His movements were deliberate, gentle. "All right, buddy," he whispered softly, touching the dog's matted fur. "You're in safe hands now." Carefully, Marcus started examining the dog's injuries, cuts, bruises, and a deep gash along the hind leg. The wound suggested a brutal struggle or perhaps proximity to an explosion. But as he opened the dog's mouth gently to check for any obstruction or internal injuries, something caught his eye. A faint glint reflected under the beam of his small laser examination flashlight. Marcus froze, heart pounding. His hand trembled slightly as he leaned in closer, disbelief filling him. There, embedded in the soft upper palate of the dog's mouth, was a tiny, rusted metallic device, blinking steadily with a dim red light. Marcus's breath caught sharply. He had seen tracking chips before, common among military working dogs, but this was different, foreign, ominous. His mind raced with possibilities: espionage, surveillance, sabotage. This wasn't an ordinary chip. This was sophisticated technology meant for clandestine operations. Marcus swallowed hard, glancing briefly at Sam and Danny, who were watching him expectantly. He composed himself quickly, keeping his expression neutral. "Thanks, guys. I'll take it from here. Go get some rest." Sam nodded reluctantly, clearly sensing something unusual, but knowing better than to pry. Danny followed him out, casting a final curious glance back at the injured animal before leaving the container. Marcus waited until the soldiers were gone. His hands steadied slightly as he carefully extracted the small, blinking device from the dog's mouth using surgical forceps. It came loose with a quiet, sickening click, revealing delicate wires protruding from its underside. He stared at it for a long moment, feeling a chill crawl up his spine. He glanced down at the dog, now breathing a little easier without the foreign object lodged painfully in its mouth. Its dark, intelligent eyes met his own, and Marcus felt an instant connection, a silent, mutual understanding formed in the crucible of war. "You're Echo now," Marcus said softly, running a comforting hand gently across the dog's head. Echo, the dog, responded by weakly thumping his tail against the cold, cracked concrete, a small but meaningful gesture of trust. Marcus carefully wrapped the extracted device in a sterile cloth, placing it safely inside his locked medicine cabinet, out of sight but not out of mind. He turned back to Echo, gently cleaning and stitching his wounds. The dog's watchful eyes never left Marcus's face, as though silently vowing allegiance. In that quiet, broken-down container amid the chaos of war, Marcus Reed found himself no longer just a veterinarian. He had become a guardian of secrets, keeper of a fragile life, and protector of a mysterious animal whose past could alter the course of battles yet to come. As the dim, artificial lights hummed overhead, Marcus sat beside Echo, gently stroking the dog's fur. Outside, the distant rumble of artillery continued, a constant reminder that peace was fleeting and danger always lingered just beyond sight. But for now, in this fragile sanctuary, Marcus allowed himself a rare moment of calm. Echo laid his head on Marcus's lap, sighing softly, a quiet testament to their newfound bond, forged in fire and destined, Marcus knew, to change everything. Marcus discreetly slid the strange, rusted device into a small metal box and tucked it beneath a stack of gauze in the cabinet. He took a deep breath, knowing he couldn't unravel this alone. After ensuring Echo was stable and resting comfortably, Marcus stepped outside the makeshift veterinary clinic into the chilly air, his boots crunching against the cracked concrete. A thin mist had begun to fall, veiling the dim glow from distant fires burning at the edges of the base. He walked swiftly to a nearby command container, seeking out his most trusted ally, Ryan Walker, a logistics officer who had been his closest friend since they trained together years ago. Ryan was tall, broad-shouldered, and carried himself with the easy confidence that came from years of meticulous planning and precise execution. His jet-black hair was always neatly combed, framing an angular, serious face softened only slightly by warm brown eyes that often seemed too kind for this harsh place. Ryan was known among the troops for his unwavering loyalty and discretion, making him the perfect confidant for Marcus. Marcus found Ryan hunched over a map table, reviewing supply routes with intense concentration. "Ryan, got a second?" Marcus asked quietly. Ryan glanced up, instantly sensing the seriousness behind Marcus's casual request. "Of course. What's going on?" Marcus hesitated briefly, ensuring no one else was within earshot before continuing. "I need your expertise on something unusual, something potentially serious." Ryan nodded slowly, his brows furrowing slightly. "Lead the way." Back inside the veterinary clinic, Marcus carefully retrieved the hidden device. Ryan examined it closely, turning it carefully in his hands under the stark overhead lighting. His expression darkened, understanding dawning on his face. "This isn't standard issue," Ryan murmured thoughtfully. "It's sophisticated, possibly advanced surveillance tech. Where exactly did you find this?" Marcus gestured to Echo, who lay quietly watching them from his recovery spot, ears twitching nervously at each muffled, distant explosion. Ryan exhaled slowly, comprehending the implications immediately. "I'll run it through some channels discreetly," Ryan said, carefully placing the device in his jacket pocket. "Stay alert, Marcus. Whoever put this there will likely want it back." As Marcus escorted Ryan out, a jeep pulled up, scattering gravel across the cracked pavement. From it stepped Emily Porter, the frontline war correspondent known for her fearless coverage. Emily was a striking woman in her mid-30s, slender but sturdy, her short chestnut hair perpetually windswept, framing sharp, intelligent eyes of emerald green. She carried herself with the confidence born from years spent navigating conflict zones, though her gaze hinted at untold stories and hidden scars. Emily's reputation preceded her, tenacious, fiercely independent, and unafraid to uncover the truth, no matter the risk. "Dr. Reed," Emily approached briskly, offering a firm handshake. "I'm Emily Porter. I've heard you're running veterinary support here. Mind if I ask a few questions about unusual activities you might have observed?" Marcus smiled politely, guarded but respectful. "Miss Porter, my primary focus is treating animals. I'm afraid I don't get involved with intelligence operations." Emily tilted her head slightly, clearly unconvinced. "Animals can often tell us more about a battlefield than soldiers themselves," she said quietly, glancing meaningfully toward the clinic behind Marcus, "especially ones that wander in from combat zones." Marcus's expression remained neutral, but internally his caution heightened. Emily seemed to sense his reluctance, her tone softening. "Look, I'm here because there are reports of unauthorized activities, clandestine operations involving more than just soldiers. If you come across anything unusual, here's my card." Marcus accepted the card silently, his eyes briefly meeting Emily's, recognizing the genuine determination behind them. "I'll keep that in mind," he said carefully. As Emily drove away, Marcus returned inside. Echo had shifted uneasily, eyes wide with anxiety as artillery rumbled louder in the distance. Marcus approached calmly, placing a reassuring hand gently on Echo's side. "Easy, Echo. You're safe here," he whispered gently. Over the following days, Echo's recovery astonished Marcus. Physically, the dog regained strength rapidly, his coat shining brighter with each passing day. But Marcus noticed Echo's intense anxiety around loud noises. Every distant explosion or sharp crack sent Echo into rigid alertness, ears flat, body tense, eyes searching for unseen threats. Marcus took extra measures to soothe Echo's nerves, quietly humming old tunes as he worked, carefully avoiding sudden movements. A gentle bond formed between them, Echo often pressing close to Marcus's leg as if sensing the veterinarian's calming presence was the safest refuge from the chaos. Meanwhile, Emily Porter relentlessly pursued her investigation. She discreetly interviewed soldiers, piecing together fragmented stories of suspicious activities involving animals and high-tech devices. Despite her efforts, most people were tight-lipped, too fearful of repercussions to openly share what little they knew. However, one rainy evening, while sitting in her cramped quarters reviewing notes, Emily received an anonymous tip, a brief, cryptic message urging her to look deeper into veterinary operations. Emily's pulse quickened. Perhaps her instincts about Marcus Reed hadn't been off after all. Back at the clinic, Marcus prepared to close for the night, double-checking Echo's wounds, pleased to find them healing exceptionally well. Ryan returned unexpectedly, slipping quietly inside, his expression deeply concerned. "Marcus, the device," Ryan whispered urgently, his voice strained. "It's not just surveillance. It's designed to transmit highly sensitive, real-time data. Someone's using animals to map our troop movements." Marcus felt his blood run cold. Echo lifted his head, ears perked as if sensing the mounting tension. Marcus exchanged a grim glance with Ryan. "Who else knows?" "For now, just us," Ryan said firmly. "But we can't trust anyone easily." "Not yet." Marcus nodded solemnly, glancing down at Echo, who stared back intently. The clinic suddenly felt smaller, more exposed than ever before. Marcus knew they stood on dangerous ground, tangled within a web of espionage neither had anticipated. Outside, rain began to fall heavily, drumming ominously against the metal roof. Marcus stared into Echo's eyes, silently promising to protect this unexpected friend from whatever storm awaited them. The revelation of the device's true purpose weighed heavily on Marcus and Ryan. They sat late into the night within the dimly lit container clinic, the faint glow of a single lamp casting elongated shadows across their solemn faces. The rain persisted outside, drumming relentlessly on the metal roof, echoing Marcus's unsettled thoughts. Ryan leaned back in his chair, rubbing his temples as he considered the implications. Mercenaries using animals to spy on our movements. This takes things to another level, he muttered, concern etching deeper lines onto his already serious face. Marcus nodded, his gaze drifting to Echo. The dog lay curled up nearby, sleeping fitfully. Echo has no idea what they've done to him. We can't let him suffer further, Marcus said softly, determination hardening his voice. Meanwhile, across the base, Emily Porter meticulously compiled notes under the flickering fluorescent light of her sparse accommodations. Her notebook pages were filled with scribbled clues, cryptic messages, and vague leads she'd gathered. Her slender fingers tapped anxiously on the desk, eyes narrowed in concentration. She glanced at her reflection briefly in a small, cracked mirror. Exhaustion shadowed her features, but resolve still burned brightly within her emerald eyes. Her tireless pursuit of truth had defined her career, driven by an unspoken past loss that haunted her every action. A sharp knock interrupted her thoughts. Sergeant Jessica Hale stepped into the doorway, her tall frame imposing yet graceful. Jessica was in her early 30s, with fiery red hair tied tightly into a regulation bun. Her pale complexion dusted lightly with freckles. She exuded confidence and professionalism, tempered by genuine empathy. "I heard you're digging around," Jessica said quietly, closing the door behind her. "There's something you should know." Emily straightened instantly, pen poised over a notepad. "Go on." Jessica glanced over her shoulder nervously before continuing. "Echo isn't an isolated case. We've had animals wander in before. Cats, dogs, even a wounded bird. Every time, they were found near our operations, and shortly afterward, we noticed unusual activity, attacks, or ambushes. We didn't piece it together until recently." Emily scribbled furiously, heart racing. "Any idea who's behind this?" Jessica shook her head solemnly. "No names yet, just suspicions. Whoever they are, they're careful, extremely well-funded." Back at the veterinary clinic, Marcus checked on Echo again. The dog's breathing had evened out, though occasional tremors still passed through his body at distant explosions. Marcus gently stroked Echo's head, murmuring soothing reassurances. He found himself growing deeply attached, Echo's loyalty and quiet strength resonating deeply with him. The dog seemed to sense Marcus's affection, responding with increasing trust and gentleness. The following morning, Marcus met Ryan in his small logistics office. Ryan had spent the night contacting trusted intelligence sources discreetly. "We confirmed it," Ryan said gravely. "It's mercenary work, highly skilled operatives specializing in unconventional tactics. The device we found transmits live coordinates and audio. They've likely been tracking us for weeks." Marcus clenched his fists. "And Echo was just a pawn." "Exactly," Ryan nodded. "But now we have leverage. They'll come for him, Marcus." Marcus's jaw tightened resolutely. "Let them try." Later, Emily approached Marcus cautiously as he prepared fresh bandages for Echo. Her voice was careful, guarded but sincere. "Dr. Reed, I have reliable intel suggesting Echo's situation isn't unique. Multiple animals have been similarly used, controlled remotely as surveillance tools." Marcus sighed deeply, looking into Emily's unwavering eyes, sensing she was genuine. "I suspected as much." Echo doesn't deserve to be caught in this. Emily nodded emphatically, leaning forward slightly. Help me expose whoever's responsible. We can stop them. Marcus hesitated momentarily, weighing the risks. Trusting Emily felt dangerous, yet necessary. Finally, he relented. All right, but Echo's safety comes first. That night, Marcus remained awake, sitting near Echo, who seemed acutely aware of Marcus's presence. Outside, a distant rumble of explosions punctuated the silence, each sound sending slight shudders through Echo. Marcus placed a comforting hand on Echo's back, steadying him, their bond growing stronger through the shared silence of the night. Emily returned to her quarters, thoughts racing. The scope of the conspiracy was becoming clearer, each clue piecing together a horrifying picture of exploitation and ruthless espionage. Yet, determination surged within her. She would uncover every secret, no matter how deeply buried, driven by the haunting echoes of her past that demanded justice for all innocent victims. As dawn approached, Marcus stepped outside, inhaling the crisp morning air, eyes scanning the hazy horizon. He felt a renewed sense of purpose. Echo, now more than just a rescued animal, had become a symbol of innocence trapped in a merciless conflict. Marcus vowed silently to protect him, whatever the cost. He knew they were stepping onto a perilous path, but backing down wasn't an option anymore. Echo joined him quietly, pressing his warm body against Marcus's leg. Marcus reached down, scratching behind Echo's ears, offering reassurance. Together, they stood resolutely against the uncertain dawn, prepared to face whatever challenges lay ahead, united by an unspoken promise forged from loyalty and courage. The uneasy peace of the forward base was shattered in the dead of night. Marcus woke abruptly, Echo's low growl vibrating against his leg, instantly alerting him. Outside, the silence had deepened into a dangerous stillness. Marcus rose quickly, quietly moving to the window to peer cautiously through the blinds. His heart tightened. Shadows moved purposefully across the perimeter, armed silhouettes slipping silently toward the veterinary clinic. Marcus turned to Echo, signaling him to stay quiet, but the dog's hackles were already raised, his ears pinned back defensively. There was little time. The door crashed inward, splintering off its hinges as armed men flooded the room. Marcus instinctively shielded Echo, pulling the dog behind him as Ryan burst through the back in trance, weapon drawn, eyes wide with urgency. "Marcus, out the back now!" Ryan shouted, firing warning shots into the ceiling. The intruders hesitated momentarily, diving for cover, buying Marcus crucial seconds. Marcus grabbed Echo by the collar, leading him swiftly out the back in trance into the cold, muddy darkness. Outside, Marcus and Echo collided with Emily, who had been alerted by the sudden commotion. Emily's usually composed appearance was now flushed with adrenaline, her emerald eyes flashing with fierce determination. "Come on," she hissed urgently, beckoning them toward a hidden alleyway between the storage containers. Without hesitation, Marcus followed, Echo pressing closely at his heels. They ran silently, heartbeats loud in their ears, escaping through a narrow breach in the base's perimeter fence. Emily guided them expertly, her years of navigating war zones evident in her decisive movements. After what felt like hours, they finally slowed, ducking into an abandoned farmhouse several kilometers away, hidden amidst dense brush. Inside, Emily quickly secured the doors, breathing heavily. "We should be safe here for now," she said, sinking onto a dusty crate. "How do they know?" Marcus exhaled sharply, running a hand through his silver-streaked hair. "Someone must have tipped them off. Maybe our inquiries weren't as discreet as we thought." Emily frowned deeply, her eyes reflecting concern. "They're more desperate than we realized." Marcus paced restlessly, tension radiating from him. Echo lay quietly, observing Marcus carefully, attuned to his distress. Emily noticed Marcus's unease, curiosity flickering in her eyes. "Marcus, there's more to this than just Echo, isn't there?" He hesitated, the question forcing painful memories to the surface. Finally, Marcus sat heavily beside Echo, stroking the dog's fur absent-mindedly. Years ago, I was a handler for a military dog named Max. He was brave, loyal, just like Echo. Emily and Ryan listened silently, sensing the depth of Marcus's buried grief. Marcus continued softly, his voice barely above a whisper. During an operation, Max discovered explosives rigged to blow. He alerted us, saving countless lives, but at a cost. The bomb detonated early, and Marcus paused, voice catching. I couldn't reach him in time. He died saving us all. I've carried that guilt every day since. Emily moved closer, compassion softening her determined features. Marcus, you honored his sacrifice. It wasn't your fault. Marcus looked away briefly, the pain still raw despite the years. Every time I see Echo, I remember Max. Echo deserves better than to be caught in another deadly game. Ryan stood near the window, vigilant, checking cautiously outside. We'll make sure Echo stays safe, he promised firmly, turning back to Marcus. But we need a plan. They won't stop hunting us. Emily nodded resolutely. Then we need to expose them first. Marcus straightened, determination rekindled by their words. Echo lifted his head, sensing the shift in mood, pressing reassuringly against Marcus. Marcus's eyes met Echo's, a silent promise passing between them. Suddenly, a rustling outside made them tense. Ryan raised his weapon cautiously as the door creaked slowly open. A young woman stepped in hesitantly, her slender frame shivering from the cold. She had short, tousled dark hair and wide, frightened eyes. "Please," she stammered nervously, "I didn't mean to scare you. My name is Claire. I saw you running. I've been hiding here for days. Those people, the mercenaries, they took my brother for trying to warn the soldiers." Claire's vulnerability was palpable, her delicate features pale and drawn from days of fear and hiding. Marcus softened immediately, sensing her sincerity. "We won't harm you, Claire," Marcus assured gently. "Can you tell us more about these people?" Claire nodded hesitantly. "They're ruthless. They use animals to spy, just as you suspect. My brother was a technician. He discovered what they were doing, tried to alert the base, but they took him. I barely escaped." Emily moved closer, voice gentle yet insistent. "Claire, can you lead us to their operations? We need evidence." Claire hesitated briefly, eyes wide with fear. But seeing Marcus's reassuring expression and Echo's steady presence, she nodded firmly. "Yes, if it means stopping them and saving my brother, I'll do anything." Marcus exchanged a resolute glance with Ryan and Emily. They had found an ally in their darkest moment, a glimmer of hope amidst peril. The group gathered quietly around a small lantern, outlining their next steps. Marcus felt an overwhelming sense of responsibility, not just for Echo and his new companions, but also for confronting his lingering ghosts. Echo rested calmly at Marcus's side, his trust unwavering. Marcus reached down, gently scratching behind Echo's ears, silently vowing to protect this new family formed by circumstance and courage. The past would always haunt Marcus, but in Echo's loyal gaze, he found renewed strength and purpose to face the unknown challenges ahead, determined to ensure history would not repeat itself. The first light of dawn painted the farmhouse walls in muted shades of gold as Marcus, Emily, Ryan, Claire, and Echo gathered around a worn table, maps and notes scattered across its surface. Echo sat close to Marcus, alert and attentive, his brown eyes scanning each face with gentle intelligence. "We need irrefutable proof," Emily stated firmly, tapping her pen on the table, her emerald eyes intense with resolve. "Enough to convince the world that animals are being used in covert, unethical warfare." Claire leaned forward nervously. "There's a research facility hidden in the mountains west of here. My brother, Alex, said that's where they control the animals. If we find him, he'll have all the evidence we need." Marcus nodded gravely. "Then that's where we go." The journey through the rugged mountain terrain tested their endurance. Ryan led the way, his expertise in logistics evident as he carefully navigated hidden paths. Claire, though physically frail from her ordeal, showed remarkable resilience, determined to rescue her brother. Emily documented every detail, capturing evidence meticulously, driven by a fierce commitment to truth. Echo became their protector and scout, his sharp senses detecting potential threats long before the others. He moved ahead cautiously, signaling Marcus whenever danger was near. Marcus watched Echo with pride and a growing affection, their bond deepening with every shared peril. At night, they rested briefly in makeshift camps, conversations low and guarded. Claire spoke softly of Alex, describing her brother as a gentle soul, slight and studious with messy brown hair and large, expressive eyes behind round glasses. He always cared deeply for animals, Claire explained softly. That's why he risked everything to expose them. Days later, they reached the perimeter of the secret facility, an imposing structure concealed cleverly amongst dense forests. High concrete walls topped with razor wire surrounded multiple low buildings. Armed guards patrolled regularly, their movements precise and disciplined. "How do we get in unnoticed?" Emily whispered. Marcus studied the facility carefully, eyes narrowing thoughtfully. Echo nudged Marcus's hand gently, his steady gaze offering silent support. Marcus stroked Echo's head reassuringly. "Echo can help." Under cover of darkness, Echo slipped silently through the shadows toward the main gate, intentionally drawing the guards' attention. His agile movements created distractions that allowed Marcus and the others to breach the fence at an unguarded section. They hurried across the compound, guided by Claire's whispered directions toward the central lab. Inside, stark white corridors illuminated harshly by fluorescent lights branched in all directions. Marcus motioned silently for the group to split up, Emily and Claire moving toward the holding cells, while he and Ryan searched the control rooms. Emily and Claire found Alex in a small, isolated cell. He was pale, gaunt from captivity, but his spirit remained unbroken. Upon seeing Claire, relief flooded Alex's eyes, his shoulders sagging with overwhelming gratitude. Claire rushed forward, hugging him tightly, tears of relief streaming down her face. Alex immediately regained composure, his voice low yet urgent. "I have documented everything," he said, handing Emily a small flash drive hidden in his clothing. "Videos, files, data. Proof that Lucas Garrison is behind all of this." Elsewhere, Marcus and Ryan accessed the central control room. Screens displayed live feeds of animals implanted with tracking and control devices. Marcus's heart twisted painfully as images flashed of innocent creatures exploited in cruel experiments. Ryan quickly downloaded additional files, his expression grim. "This is even worse than we imagined." Suddenly, alarms blared, red lights flashing violently. Guards converged rapidly, their shouts echoing through corridors. Marcus grabbed Ryan's arm urgently. "We have to get out now." The group reunited hastily near the facility's exit, Echo leading the way confidently. They raced through corridors, Echo's keen senses navigating swiftly through the chaos. A group of guards appeared ahead, blocking their path. Echo charged forward bravely, barking fiercely, startling the guards into momentary hesitation. Marcus seized the opportunity, tackling one guard, while Ryan subdued another swiftly. Emerging outside, they sprinted toward the cover of darkness, Echo never faltering, his loyalty and courage unwavering. The group collapsed breathlessly into the safety of the surrounding forest, the distant shouts of guards fading behind them. Days later, safely hidden in a remote location, Emily meticulously reviewed the overwhelming evidence gathered. Marcus watched Echo resting peacefully nearby, deep admiration filling him. "Echo saved us," he murmured softly, gratitude thick in his voice. Emily smiled gently, nodding. "And now, together, we'll save countless others." Marcus placed a reassuring hand on Echo, their silent understanding deepening. The truth was finally within their grasp, and nothing would stop them from revealing it to the world. The explosive revelations swept across news channels globally, sparking outrage and prompting immediate action. Marcus, Emily, Ryan, Claire, and Alex gathered around a television in a secure location, watching intently as international reporters condemned Lucas Garrison's unethical operations. Echo lay quietly by Marcus's side, his fur warm against Marcus's leg, sensing the gravity of the moment. Within days, authorities acted decisively. Lucas Garrison, previously untouchable and hidden behind layers of secrecy, was arrested in a swift international operation. Footage of his capture played repeatedly, showcasing the collapse of his illegal empire. Marcus exhaled deeply, feeling the weight he had carried for so long finally lifting from his shoulders. Weeks later, at a formal ceremony held at the military base, Marcus stood rigidly on stage, Echo proudly seated beside him. A senior officer named General Leonard Harris, a distinguished older man with silver hair and a sharp gaze softened by genuine respect, approached Marcus, pinning a Medal of Honor onto his chest. "Your courage and integrity have saved countless lives, human and animal alike," Harris declared, his voice resonating with pride. Marcus accepted the honor humbly, nodding respectfully. His eyes briefly sought Emily, Ryan, Claire, and Alex in the audience, their supportive smiles reinforcing the bond they had formed through shared trials. Echo barked softly, drawing amused laughter from the crowd, his own version of approval clearly expressed. Following the ceremony, Emily approached Marcus, her eyes sparkling with admiration and relief. "We did it," she whispered, her voice slightly tremulous from emotion. Marcus smiled warmly, clasping her hands gratefully. "None of it would have happened without your determination." "Thank you, Emily." She shook her head modestly, returning his smile. "It was Echo who brought us together. He's the true hero here." Marcus glanced down affectionately at Echo, the dog's eyes bright and attentive. "He's changed my life." Soon after, Marcus made a significant decision, one he had considered many times during sleepless nights spent reflecting on his past and future. He would leave military life behind, embracing a quieter existence far from conflict and chaos. His destination was his childhood hometown, a peaceful, picturesque place nestled in the lush mountains of Montana. Marcus settled quickly into civilian life, purchasing a quaint building at the edge of town to open a modest veterinary clinic. The town's residents warmly welcomed Marcus back, grateful for his compassionate expertise. Echo adapted seamlessly, quickly becoming a beloved local figure. Children especially adored him, often stopping by the clinic after school just to play. Marcus hired a young assistant, Abigail Carter, a cheerful and energetic woman in her mid-20s, with bright blonde hair pulled into a playful ponytail and a constant, infectious smile. Abigail had recently lost her own dog, a fact evident in the gentle way she cared for every animal that entered the clinic. Her compassionate nature resonated deeply with Marcus, reminding him daily of the empathy and kindness at the heart of their work. Abigail bonded quickly with Echo, who seemed to sense her lingering grief, offering comfort in his quiet, understanding manner. Watching them interact, Marcus felt assured he had chosen the right path, grateful for the newfound tranquility and meaning his life now held. One serene afternoon, while organizing supplies, Marcus found himself reminiscing about the events leading him here. He glanced toward Echo, napping peacefully nearby, his breathing deep and even. Marcus smiled softly, recognizing how deeply his life had been transformed by the dog's presence and loyalty. The clinic door opened softly, revealing Ryan and Emily, surprise visitors with broad smiles. Emily carried a bundle of newspapers highlighting their successful exposé, while Ryan held a small, framed photo, a snapshot of Marcus, Echo, and the entire team taken after their harrowing escape. "Figured you'd like a keepsake," Ryan said warmly, placing the photo gently on Marcus's desk. Marcus laughed lightly, welcoming them warmly. "You two always knew how to make an entrance." Emily smiled gently, glancing affectionately at Echo, who had awakened and was approaching eagerly. She knelt, stroking Echo's fur fondly. "You're looking well, hero." Echo wagged his tail, basking in their familiar affection. Ryan leaned against the desk thoughtfully. "It seems strange now, thinking of everything we went through. But seeing you both here, safe and happy, makes it all worth it." Marcus nodded solemnly. "We faced unimaginable darkness together. Yet, in the end, we found light and hope." That evening, as the sun dipped gently below the mountain peaks, casting warm hues across the tranquil valley, Marcus took Echo for a leisurely walk along a familiar woodland trail. The air was crisp, fresh with the scent of pine and damp earth. Birds sang softly overhead, adding to the peaceful atmosphere. Marcus paused at a scenic overlook, gazing across the quiet landscape thoughtfully. Echo pressed gently against his side, sharing the serene moment. Marcus knelt beside his faithful companion, speaking softly yet earnestly. "We did it, Echo. You've earned your peace." Echo turned to Marcus, eyes wise and filled with unwavering devotion. Marcus wrapped an arm around Echo, feeling profound gratitude for this remarkable animal who had taught him resilience, bravery, and unconditional love. They returned home as dusk settled gently around them, Marcus feeling profoundly content. He had fought for truth, protected innocent lives, and now, finally, he had found his own freedom alongside Echo, a steadfast friend and loyal companion who had guided him from darkness into enduring peace and happiness. In the end, Marcus and Echo's story teaches us that courage, loyalty, and kindness can triumph even in the darkest times. Just like Echo, who found freedom and a loving home through bravery and trust, we too can overcome our personal battles by staying true to what's right and caring deeply for those around us. In our daily lives, let us remember to treat every creature with compassion and stand bravely against injustice, just like Marcus and his faithful friend Echo did. If this story touched your heart, please share with your loved ones, leave a comment with the word Amen, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories. May God bless you and keep you safe always. Comment Amen below if you believe in courage, hope, and the power of love.